Well, despite that attack in Washington, King Charles's state visit is going ahead as planned. The British monarch is to touch down in Washington later on today for what will be a 4-day trip that includes a private meeting with President Trump and an address to the US Congress. Well, with me to talk about this, Philip Turle, our foreign affairs editor. And Philip, look, there are some people who are describing this as a high risk trip for King Charles, and this with the so-called special relationship sort of somewhat under scrutiny right now. Why is that? And tell us a bit about what's on the agenda.
Well, Buckingham Palace itself in London is describing this as high risk, high strategy, and high opportunity. I think the three mixed together about sums up what King Charles is about to get launched into. We have to remember that King Charles is not the man responsible for this visit. He's doing this on the orders of the British government. It's not he who decides whether or not he goes to the United States. And this is a return state visit after the last one that Donald Trump made to the UK last year. What's on the agenda? Well, quite a lot, to be honest. There's going to be an address to both houses of Congress. That's scheduled to take place probably tomorrow, Tuesday. There'll also be a meeting at the White House with Donald Trump, a photo opportunity in the Oval Office. There'll be a meeting with veterans from the attacks of the 11th of September 2001. There will also be a visit to a national park in Virginia. And just prior to that, King Charles will travel to New York for a reception there as well. So it's quite a packed agenda over the next couple of days. As for Queen Camilla, she's scheduled to meet victims of sexual abuse, but for the moment, that is all that we know that she's got on her agenda, apart from accompanying King Charles in his walkabouts and his meetings with Donald Trump at the White House. But this is a meeting that this trip has caused a big polemic in the United Kingdom, where Donald Trump is vastly unpopular. Only 14% of the British. It's about the same as the French. In actual fact, this is according to a YouGov poll. Only about 14% of the British have a favourable opinion poll rating of Donald Trump. And if you look at the opinion polls as to whether or not this visit should have gone ahead, with all the insults and criticisms that Donald Trump has levelled at Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, and on Britain's decision not to accompany him in the war in Iran, belittling the British military during its role in Afghanistan, and also threatening via a memo at the Pentagon to withdraw support for Britain's sovereignty over the Falkland Islands. Many people in the United Kingdom are saying, well, why is this visit going ahead? And if you look at polls there, 49% think that actually Charles shouldn't have gone to the United States right now, because the special relationship between the two countries has been so rattled over recent times by what Donald Trump has said towards the UK.
And look, the Epstein files, Philip, have sort of rattled both the governments in Washington and in the United Kingdom in recent weeks, haven't they? Do you think, whether anybody wants them to politically, this is going to come up, be discussed somehow?
Well, one thing is certainly for sure, Nadia, and the Epstein files are not going to be on the talks agenda between Donald Trump and King Charles, and there will be at no point will there be a press conference where King Charles will answer questions from the press. For example, when they go to the Oval Office, the press is not allowed in. There will just be a photo opportunity there. This is all being kept to a very strict minimum, and even the contact between Donald Trump and King Charles will be brought down to only 5 opportunities where the two men are being seen together, and the press won't be able to interview them and throw questions. I think what is concerning, though, for King Charles and the British is that, obviously, with the involvement of King Charles's younger brother, former Prince Andrew Batten-Windsor, in the Epstein files, and the fact he's been placed under arrest and there's an investigation into his role with Jeffrey Epstein underway right now. He's been stripped of all his titles. That obviously brings us much closer to the British royal family. The fact that the Epstein files, only half of those files have been released, only 3 million documents out of the 6 million or so that are alleged to exist, is all going to put, I think, pressure on certainly on the king to say something about this. Of course, he's not going to, but I think where the royal family is rather concerned is, and that's why this has been carefully orchestrated, carefully worked out and choreographed to make sure that it's kept to a strict minimum, is that there won't be, for example, questions thrown at the king about what he knew about Jeffrey Epstein, what he knew about Andrew's involvement, or heckling from the crowd during walkabouts about the Epstein files, which is something certainly that the British royal family would like to avoid, and I think certainly the American government doesn't want to see happen if the two men happen to be together, King Charles and Donald Trump. So I think that is certainly a matter of concern, and that's why this has been such a tightly controlled visit, and even more so following the attempted assassination bid against Donald Trump yesterday at the White House dinner.